If everyone would take their seat, please. Okay. Thank you. Would the clerk call roll, please? Okay. We have a presence, quorum. We have 6 members. Oh, who? Oh, okay. Keith, Mark Hodges present. Okay. All right. Thank everyone for being in attendance today. We have about 15 bills to move through. We're going to move through them pretty quickly. Give us a brief explanation of your bill, answer any questions, and we'll vote on the bill. Our first bill before us is HB 1478, Delegate Ballard, and Delegate Ballard is not here. I know he's in courts. So, Clerk, could you present the bill, please? Or staff, I'm sorry. Mr. Clerk, you want to present the bill? That'll work.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I will step into the clerk's ability to explain the bill, Mr. Chairman. It's House Bill 1478 from Delegate Ballard. This would expand the definition of a predicate criminal act associated with gang activity to include any violations currently defined in code as acts of violence. And it would also increase several existing felony penalties for gang crimes. The fiscal impact of this bill would require a one-time deposit in the Corrections Special Reserve Fund, totaling $437,000 in fiscal year 2024.
Okay, thank you, David. Is there anyone in the audience to speak to the bill, either in for or against? Very quickly, Mr. Humphreys.
Yes, sir. Quickly. Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, Josh Humphreys from the Attorney General's office. We support the bill and thank the delegate.
Thank you, Mr. Humphreys. Okay, anyone on the committee have any questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Committee acts? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to mention to everybody that there were a lot of votes against this on our side in the courts committee.
And we would appreciate you changing your vote on this committee. Thank you, Delegate Sickles. Okay. All right, the committee acts by motion.
Move to report.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to report the bill. All in favor, vote on electronic voting board. Okay, there appears the bill reports by number 5-2 in favor, reporting. Thank you all. Okay, next bill is HB 1565, Delegate Converse Fowler. Staff, can you present the bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next is House Bill 1565 from Delegate Converse Fowler. The bill would provide that the Commonwealth pay any burial fee charged for the burial of a spouse of an active duty member or veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces or a member of the National Guard and Reserve at veteran cemeteries operated by the Department of Veterans Services. This bill, as it comes before the subcommittee, is identical to House Bill 2362 from Delegate Wiley, which was reported from the full committee last week.
Okay, thank you, David. Anyone on the committee have any questions or comments about the bill? Okay, as the clerk, as David said, we just reported Delegate Wiley's 2362 out last week. The bills are identical, so I would
Mr. Chairman,
entertain a motion. Yes, sir.
is there a way to roll them together?
I think probably the easiest thing to do is just gently lay this bill on the table, David, Mr. Delegate, and move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to lay it on the table gently.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Then we'll vote on electronic voting board. Bill reports 6-1. Or we laid the bill on the table 6-1. I apologize. Fails to report. Okay, we'll move to HB 1642, Delegate Kilgore's bill. I know Kilgore's messaged me. He's in courts also. So, David, would you please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 1642 from Delegate Kilgore would expand the definition of felony homicide to include involvement in the manufacture, sale, gift, or distribution of a Schedule I or II controlled substance to another, resulting in their subsequent death. The bill would require a one-time deposit of $255,000 in the Corrections Special Reserve Fund in fiscal year 2024.
Okay. Anyone in the audience speak in favor or against the bill? Seeing none.
Move to report.
Have a motion to report and a second. Vote on electronic voting board. Bill reports 5-2. Thank you. Next bill on the docket is 1806, Bloxham.
House Bill 1806 delays by 1 year the provisions of legislation enacted last year, which required vehicles that are claiming a farm use exemption to individual to receive from the DMV a permanent farm use placard to place in the vehicle. It would basically make the effective date July 1st, 2024. It also clarifies that all trucks are eligible and SUVs are eligible for the placard, not just those weighing greater than 7,500 pounds, and there's no physical impact from the legislation.
Mr. Chairman, I move to report.
Thank you, Michael J. We have a motion to report and a second. Right, vote on electronic voting board. We have peace in the valley on this bill, and this is a good bill, and it's necessary. So the bill reports 7-0. Thank you. Next bill on our docket is 1885, Delegate Byron. And I know Delegate Byron is in a committee also, so.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 1885 from Delegate Byron would establish the crime of organized retail theft as a Class 3 felony. This would include conspiring or acting in concert with another person to commit larceny of retail property from one or more mercantile establishments with a value exceeding $1,000 in aggregate over a 90-day period. Receiving or possessing such retail property while knowing or having reasonable grounds to believe the property was unlawfully obtained. Conspiring or acting in concert with two or more other persons as an organizer or manager to engage in a scheme for the transfer of such retail property. The bill would also add organized retail theft to the list of offenses that are defined as predicate criminal acts for the purpose of criminal street gang provisions, as well as the list of offenses defined as racketeering offenses. And the bill would also establish enhanced penalties for second and third convictions of misdemeanor larceny. The bill would require a one-time deposit of $14.7 million in the Corrections Special Reserve Fund in fiscal year 2024.
Okay. Anyone in the audience speak in favor or against the bill? Mr. Humphries.
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, briefly, this bill is a product of the work group that Delegate Byron participated in with Senator Barker from our office as a result of some legislation last year. We appreciate her bringing it forward. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Humphries.
Move to report.
Second.
Have a motion to report and a second. Everyone vote on electronic voting board. Bill reports 7-0. Thank you. Moving down our docket, we have HB 2035, Delegate Glass.
That's 20.
Oh, I'm sorry. 2053. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. HB 2053, Delegate Glass. I apologize. Delegate Glass.
How you doing, Mr. Chair? So this bill would establish a grant fund, the Protect Virginia Grant Fund, using unexecuted payroll funds from the Department of the Secretariat. 10% of those funds to go to ABC licensed organizations that are facing an increase in crime due to lack of police presence. So it's just trying to keep public safety dollars in public safety.
Okay, thank you. Anyone in the audience speak in favor of the bill or against the bill? Hearing none. Any questions by any of the committee in regard to the bill? Have a motion to report.
Substitute motion to gently lay the bill on the table.
I have substitute motion to gently lay the bill on the table. Does it have a second? Was there a second to that motion? There was a second. Okay, everyone vote on electronic voting board. Bill lays on the table 5-2.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Delegate. Next bill is HB 2129, Delegate Delaney. And Delegate Delaney has messaged me, she's tied up also. Yes, David, could you present the bill, please?
Yes, sir. House Bill 2129. Just very simply, it would expand the age range that a child may testify using two-way closed-circuit television in a criminal case to any child younger than 18 years of age. Currently, in the code, the alleged victim or witness must be 14 years or younger at the time of the alleged offense, or 16 years old or younger at the time of trial to testify via closed-circuit television. And the bill also expands or sort of lowers the threshold by which the court would allow such testimony to take place to the preponderance of evidence that the child would suffer emotional trauma that is more than de minimis. Current law is it's a tougher bar to clear, which it required substantial likelihood of trauma based on expert opinion testimony. In looking at the fiscal impact, none has been explicitly identified to House Appropriations staff.
Thank you, staff. Anyone in the audience speak in favor of the bill?
Move the report.
I assume no one is going to speak against the bill. We have a motion and a second. Everybody vote on electronic voting board. Bill reports 6-0.
Mine's not hitting, but record me as a yes, please.
You're, all right, bill reports 7-0. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Thank you, Delegate. We move to Delaney 2150, House Bill 2150. Staff?
Yes,
Please.
Mr. Chairman. The next bill from Delegate Delaney would provide for the collection, retention, and storage of trace evidence collection kits or anonymous trace evidence collection kits collected as part of a forensic medical examination of a victim of strangulation. This bill is modeled on existing procedures that are already in place for the collection of and processing of PERT kits. The bill, for the fiscal impact, the bill would require additional staff and materials at the Department of Forensic Science. They estimate they would need an additional $127,000 from the general fund in fiscal year 2024.
Thank you, David. Anyone in the audience speak in favor of the bill? Anyone speak against the bill?
Move the report.
Second.
We have a motion to report and a second. Vote on electronic voting board. Okay, bill reports 7-0. We now move to House Bill 2338, Delegate McQuinn. And I don't think Delegate McQuinn's not here with us. Staff, could you report the bill, please?
House Bill 2338 authorizes the Commonwealth Transportation Board to use up to 30% of the funds in the transit ridership program to either A, improve accessibility to the transit bus facilities, or B, transition bus fleets and infrastructure to zero-emission vehicles. The language is permissible. It does not require the CTB to allocate the funding for these purposes. And since it does not change the total allocation for the transit ridership program, it does not have a fiscal impact.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience to speak in favor of the bill? Anyone to speak against the bill? Delegate Sickles. We have a motion to report and a second. I'm sorry. We'll go with these. If you would like to testify, we'll pause just a moment and allow you to do so. the bill is reporting, and so if you would very
I don't
quickly.
need to take your time. I thank you. Lisa Guthrie with the Virginia Transit Association. We strongly supported the bill, and I was prepared to make other points, but I don't want to stop you.
You have to move very
You're
quickly.
On a very positive
At this point in
trajectory.
time, near a crossover, Ms. Guthrie, you have to
Thank you.
move, have your skates on ready to go. Thank you, Ms. Guthrie.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your support. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to report the bill. Let's vote on electronic voting board, please. Okay, the bill reports 6-1. Next bill is Delegate Webert's bill, 2360. In fact, Delegate Webert is with us.
Yes, sir.
The one and only that we have today is with us. Thank you, Delegate Webert.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, House Bill 2360 simply increases the mandatory minimum of committing a felony for a second time from a term of 5 to 10 years. The increase in crime over the last few years has proven that we need to keep folks that are willing to do harm behind bars. And in the Commonwealth of Virginia, I mean, we saw an increase of homicides in Virginia in 2020, increased from 428 to 528. So we're in an effort to keep these people behind bars and from committing felonies with a gun, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Delegate Weber. Delegate Weber, would you concede if someone in the audience has a question speaking in favor of the bill or against the bill? If so, come forward. Okay, if not, answer any questions the committee may have, Delegate Weber.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask the staff a question?
Yes, sir.
With going from 5 to 10 years mandatory minimum, how can that only cost $48,000? I mean, one prisoner for 1 year is $48,000, $35,000. I mean, that looks like a really low number for another 5 years in the corrections department.
I'm not sure that I could answer that. Staff, David, do you have any answers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Delegate Sickles. The Virginia Criminal Sentencing Commission has a 6-year window they look at when they estimate the Corrections Special Reserve Fund impact. And then given that this is increasing the mandatory minimum from 5 to 10 years, it is likely that additional impact might be outside of that current analytical window.
Okay. I seriously doubt we'll have to deal with it anyway, so.
Move to report.
Committee acts by motion. We have a motion to report and a second. Vote on electronic voting board. Bill reports 5-2. Thank you, Delegate Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Next bill is HB 2373, Delegate Wyatt. Yes, sir. You can do it from where you're sitting. You can do it right there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HB 2373. This bill, if passed, would increase the income tax subtraction for wages and salaries earned of active and inactive service members of the Virginia National Guard. The tax subtraction would increase from $3,000 to $5,000. Also, the bill would expand the eligibility for the subtraction to individuals holding rank of 06 and below. It's been more than 2 decades since the $3,000 was set. If indexed to today's inflation, it would be well over $5,000, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. We have 2 people online to testify. Andrew, I apologize. Your name is, the caption's so small on the screen in front of me, and I'm so old I can't see it. So if you would, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Andrew Zeplicki. I'm a 16-year veteran of the National Guard, and I serve as the president of the Virginia National Guard Association. On behalf of the nearly 10,000 currently serving members of the Virginia Army and Air National Guard, and on behalf of the Department of Veteran Services Joint Leadership Council, I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for joining us. Okay, Jay and Paul Martz, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's right. I thank you, Chairman Austin, for letting me testify today. I'm a 28-year veteran of the Virginia Guard and the United States Army, and I'd want you to support HB 20. 373. I am also a current member of the Virginia Department of Veteran Services Joint Leadership Council. And as you probably know, we represent the vast majority of veteran service organizations across the Commonwealth, and we also support HB 2370C. I would note that this bill is in a bipartisan fashion moved out of the Finance Committee on a vote of 22-0. Our current members of the National Guard, those local citizen soldiers, serve the Commonwealth and local communities without hesitation when called upon. It's time we provide them additional benefits. So I ask you to support this bill. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service, and thank you for joining us today.
Mr. Chairman.
Anyone in the audience testify either in favor or against the bill?
Move the report.
Mr. Chairman, speaking to the bill.
I'm sorry, we have someone speaking to the bill?
Speaking to the motion.
Delegate Krizak, please.
I just wanted to say I'm full-heartedly supporting this, and this is excellent legislation. I also want to put a plug in for you all to think about next year, because I did not get out of finance doing a similar bill for the foreign service officers who also put their lives in harm's way, and there's about 1,051 foreign service retirees in this Commonwealth. So let's think about them next year, perhaps.
Thank you,
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Delegate Krizak. Bring that bill back next year. Okay, so we have a motion, and I think we had a second to that motion. The bill is now properly before us. Vote on electronic voting board. Bill reports 7-0. Okay, our next bill is HB 2384, Delegate Adams. And he's in courts, I know, also, so if you would, David, present the bill, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This bill is a recommendation of the Virginia State Crime Commission. The bill would remove certain offenses from the prohibition of searches without a search warrant for the odor of marijuana. The bill also establishes a presumption of intoxication if a person has a blood concentration equal to or greater than, that's several zeros, a specified amount of delta-9 THC per liter of blood, and also makes driving a motor vehicle, boat, or commercial vehicle with such a blood concentration illegal. The bill finally establishes a process for preliminary analysis of a person's saliva to screen for the presence of drugs in the saliva. And the bill stipulates that this screen may be analyzed by any police officer or member of a sheriff's department. As far as fiscal impact, the Department of Forensic Science believes it would need one full-time forensic laboratory specialist and supplies at a total annual cost of $106,000 annually. And the bill would also require a one-time $50,000 deposit in the Corrections Special Reserve Fund.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience to speak in favor of the bill? Anyone speak against the bill? Okay.
Move the report.
Have a motion to report. Have a second? Okay. Motion and a second to report the bill. Vote on electronic voting board. Delegate Wyatt. Okay. The bill reports 5-2. Thank you all. Okay, we have HB 2413, Delegate Campbell's bill. And I think we have someone online to speak to that bill also, but David, would you, Michael, would one of you two present the bill? David?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2413 from Delegate Campbell would require the Department of Corrections, State Police, and the Virginia Parole Board to provide the Virginia State Crime Commission with the name, last known address, criminal history information, length of sentence, incarcerated, reason for early release, and remaining time on such length of sentence for each offender released before the term of their original sentence. The bill would require the commission to then publish the names of such offenders along with the reason for early release on a website. The commission would also be required to track each offender published on its website while they are on a term of parole or post-release supervision, and note when such offender is charged with or convicted of a violent felony offense. And the commission would be required to provide an annual report to the General Assembly by November 15th each year with information on the offenders released early from a state correctional facility and whether such offenders have been charged with or convicted of a violent felony offense. The Crime Commission would need to establish a new agency website as well as data collection processes, and would be required to hire at least 2 staff to manage this process. The staff have an anticipated cost of indeterminate at this point, but at least $160,000 in fiscal year 2024, and the commission currently has no determinate estimate of what it would cost to establish the data collection process and website on which it is required to publish the information.
Okay, thank you, David. Anyone in the audience to speak in favor of the bill?
Mr. Chairman, members of the subcommittee, Josh Humphreys with the AG's office. Just briefly, this is a good transparency measure. We appreciate the delegate bringing it forward.
Thank you. Anyone oppose the bill? We have one person online. No one's, they're not there? Okay. Thank you, they dropped. All right. Okay, so we have any conversation among the committee in regard to this bill? Okay, committee acts by motion.
Mr. Chair, we put this bill gently on the table, please.
Motion, lay the bill gently on the table. Second?
Second.
Everyone vote in favor of the bill, or on the motion? Okay, the committee acts to lay the bill on the table by a motion of 7-0. Okay, our next bill is Delegate Davis, 2487. Delegate Davis is present and with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there is an amendment in front of you.
Have a motion to accept the amendment?
Move the amendment.
Have a motion, move the amendment. Have a second? Second? Okay, all in favor of moving the amendment, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Bill's properly before us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as of 8 minutes ago, we have Peace in the Valley. With what we're going to do, there will be another sub coming forward on. Yes, sir.
Stop, Delegate Davis. There is no amendment to this bill.
Oh, great. That's even better.
You didn't present an amendment.
Perfect.
Okay, so
It came out of,
Withdraw my motion.
it's a little late.
well, I'm sorry, there was in the regional committee, I believe, in public safety.
Oh, you had a, you don't need, we don't need to act
Perfect.
on the committee.
Wonderful.
So
Okay.
the bill's fine. The bill's
So wonderful.
properly
Thank
before
you.
us.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
All right, so House Bill 2487 addresses Department of Corrections, and basically it moves and codifies best practice working with the Department of Corrections. The final bill, what's going to do is just basically require 4 hours out of cell time a day. It is best practice. Virginia leads the way. There are a couple of things that you see in this bill in front of you, including 15-day maximums. That's going away. The reporting mechanism is going away based on some conversations a half an hour ago with the OAG's office we had outside. So all stakeholders are aware, DOC, OAG, and the stakeholders that are passionate about this. We just got to get time to draft it up for the floor if that would be the will of the body.
Thank you, Delegate.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I like this bill. I'd like to ask the patron, when I was visiting Sussex too last year, the prisoners were asking for more guards so they could stay outside. They did not have enough people in the facility to stay outside, which they're required to do for the whole period. How is that, is that solved with your amendment here?
So I'd like, if I can refer to DOC, so we're actually talking about some of that outside.
Okay. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
It seems
Delegate
to me,
Sickles.
I mean, I like
Come
this
forward,
idea,
please.
but it seems to me this would be very expensive to do, which I think it's worth it, but anyway, thanks.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Delegate Sickles. We have worked with the patron on this bill. The issues that you talk about at Sussex, those are issues of staffing, and so those issues have gotten better. We have seen some improvements there. This will require staffing just as it does today for individuals who are in restorative housing to be able to get out and be offered the 4 hours out of cell time per day. So that part of the process really does not change what we do at DOC.
Okay, so
Mr. Chairman, does that mean you can do this within your budget? Is that what that means?
Mr. Chair, Delegate Sickles, I think that's probably a better question for some of our financial people, but I do think we'd be able to be responsive to this legislation.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, committee acts by
Move to
motion.
report.
Got a motion to report. And a second. Everyone vote on electronic voting board. Okay. Am I missing something? Okay, the bill reports 7-0. Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. And our last bill before us is HB 2488. Staff, David, would you present the bill, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2488 from Delegate Campbell would establish the Public Safety Communications Infrastructure Fund to be administered by the Department of Emergency Management. The fund would be used to provide competitive grants or low-interest loans to localities for the assistance with improvement projects relating to public safety radio and communications infrastructure. The bill would require the department to prioritize projects that serve law enforcement, fire rescue, or other emergency medical services and first responders. And $5 million has been requested in fiscal year 2024 to capitalize this program.
Okay. Anyone in the audience to speak either in favor or against this bill? Please come forward.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, James Hutzer with the Virginia Association of Counties. This bill will help local governments improve their public safety radio communications infrastructure. We thank the patron for bringing this forward, and we support the bill.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Anybody on the committee have any comments or questions in regard to the bill?
Move to report. Excuse me.
Pardon?
Wrong bill.
Wrong bill? Okay. 2488, Campbell.
Yep.
Committee acts by motion.
I move that we gently lay the bill on the table.
Motion to gently lay the bill on the table. And a second. Okay, everybody vote on electronic voting board. Okay, the motion to lay the bill gently on the table passes by 7-0. I don't think, David, does that complete our docket?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have no business to come before the committee. Committee now adjourned.